1 Corinthians 3:9 reminds us, "For we are God's fellow workers, you are God's cultivated land, God's building, believers are like God's farm or crops." Jesus categorizes the harvest of believers into 3 stages based on their level of spiritual maturity. Leviticus 23 verse 10, "Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, when you come into the land which I am giving you, and reap its harvest, then you shall bring the bundle of the firstfruits of your harvest to the priest." The firstfruits, those who ripen early and are overcomers, are harvested first and taken to the throne of God before the Great Tribulation begins. The firstfruits are the mature believers, described as the overcomers, or man-child. They have a special destiny, being caught up directly to God's throne. Revelation 12:5 mentions, "And she brought forth a son, a man-child, who is to shepherd all the nations with an iron rod, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne." General harvest. Most believers will remain for a period of time to mature throughout the Great Tribulation. The general harvest represents the many believers still growing towards spiritual maturity, those still entangled with the world. They must remain in the field until the weeds of worldliness die away and they become free to ripen. In Matthew 13:24-30, Jesus compares the kingdom of heaven to a man who sows good seed in his field. But while people sleep, an enemy secretly sows weeds among the wheat. When both grow together, the servants notice the weeds and ask to pull them out. Yet the master forbids it, warning that doing so could uproot the wheat as well. He commands them instead to let both grow until the harvest, when the reapers will separate the two. The weeds will be burned, but the wheat will be gathered safely into his barn. The Gleaning Harvest. This represents the final gathering of God's less mature believers during the closing stage of the Great Tribulation. They are like the remaining grains on the edges of the field, small in number, yet precious in God's eyes, showing that his mercy endures to the very end of the harvest. Leviticus 23:22 reminds us, "And when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not completely reap the corners of your field, nor shall you gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and for the sojourner. I am Jehovah your God." Sadly, for those who truly didn't serve Christ in spirit are considered the grape harvest, which represents the final judgment of the wicked, who are gathered at the battle of Armageddon to be crushed in the winepress of God's wrath. Revelation 14:19 warns us, "And the angel thrust his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the fury of God."